Who is the mysterious killer that rocked sanity? Will their identity ever be uncovered? Well, let's hop into the pages of Heroes in Crisis issue number 6 and find out for ourselves, shall we? Alrighty then, so like all the issues that preceded it, once again we are treated to a series of interview therapy sessions from inside Santuary. This time the subject is broached of how many people has the particular hero saved. Some people brag about their numbers, while some people like Wally say that that's in bad taste, and at the end of the day it's not the people you save that really keeps you up at night, it's the people you couldn't save. Shockingly, a fair amount of this issue is actually devoted to the Cave Boy of all people. Yeah, that's right, a character who died at Santuary, but due to artist screw-up actually showed up at Arsenal's funeral in Green Arrow. Uh-oh. Furthermore, Tom King writes this character in broken English speak, even though the last time we saw him at the beginning of Abnett's Titans run, he did not speak like that, but you know, if he doesn't talk like that, how else would you know he's Cave Boy? Despite being a frozen caveman, Cave Boy actually has some rather eloquent and high-minded literary references. He quotes Keats and Plato while talking about how sometimes he misses the old days, the savagery of his past, and how he just can't seem to let it all go. Remember this actually because it's going to be pretty important by the end of the story. Now from here we transition on over to Wally. In particular, we get a flashback to that wonderful modern-day iconic moment wherein he first returned at the end of DC Universe Rebirth. Only in a bit of retconning, we stay on this moment for about 10 minutes longer than the original story did. Barry says, "You're back, Wally, the hope is back." Cause, you know, fans and Jeff Johns had said forever that Wally West returning was in a way hope returning to the DC universe, but Barry never actually said it cause that would be ridiculously on the nose. Wally then mentions that his family is not with him and that makes him sad, taking all of the joy out of this moment. In fact, we see several pretty huge moments from throughout Wally West's big return in the DC Rebirth era, only now they're colored as totally sad and depressing cause his family's not there. We got him meeting pre-Flashpoint Superman, we got him rejoining the Titans, only now he's very sad. Look, you know, I have no problem with retconning. You can go back as a writer and say big moments didn't happen the way as we, the reader, may have thought they happened, but you can't go back and change the emotions and say my emotions as the reader were wrong. Oh, I'm sorry, did that moment make you happy? Was that an affirmation for you as a reader? Well, you should be sad now. In fact, you could pretty much make that the subtitle of this whole story. Heroes in Crisis, you should be sad now. Oh, but wait, there's more. We also have a story involving Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. It seems that Harley wasn't actually a patient of Santuary. She actually only snuck in to visit her friend Ivy. But wait, how is that possible? We were told how great the security was at this place, and also Harley has been talking to the cameras here, which I thought you could only do if you were a patient. I guess Santuary is just run really poorly, and even though she's not a patient, she says she doesn't want to be bored, so Poison Ivy figures, hey, let's tackle some of your deep-seated Joker issues. Which, alright, okay, I can jive on this. Here's a woman who actually has suffered some pretty terrible trauma in her life, probably does have some demon she needs to battle, and she does so by punching a holographic Joker. Here is the main problem though, and that is Harley Quinn already did this over in her main solo series. She punched the real Joker in the face, in fact, and got over a lot of her trauma. She grew as a character in that Connor Palmiotti series and was ultimately a lot better and more rounded as a person by the end of it, but Tom King didn't read that story, so he thinks he's doing it here for the first time. Now, eventually we discover all of these things just so happen to be going on the very same night the killings in Santuary took place. We see Wally, we see a big bright light, and before we know it, he's holding a dying Arsenal in his arms. He again talks about how he misses his family, how he's sorry, and how he doesn't want to be alone anymore, which in my mind only strengthens the theory that it was actually Wally who unbeknowingly killed all these people in Santuary. Why is that my theory? Well, because it would be very sad. Wally would be sad, and we as the reader would be sad, and then there'd just be a lot of people to be sad. But here's where things get crazy though. Booster Gold comes in and sees Wally holding the dead Arsenal and then ends up shooting him, with Harley being a witness to it, even though this is the exact opposite of how it played out in a previous issue where it was Harley who did the killing. I would ask who the unreliable narrator is in this situation, but then I'm reminded we actually have no idea whose perspective this story is being told from. I mean, the cover seems to boast that we'll discover who the killer is in this issue, so I guess it was Booster, but again, I'm not sure. Now, as the comic winds down, we once again see a group of heroes being asked the question of how many people they've saved, only this time they get a little bit angrier about it. Roy Harper especially flies off the handle, talking directly to the reader and essentially saying, "What have you done with your life? Maybe you should get off the couch." Why, geez, if I didn't know any better, I would say the writer was talking directly directly to me. It's actually Tattooed Man of all people who gets the final word in, saying at the end of the day, no one really saves anybody. And that if someone lives, someone else has to die. And you know, that's just a very sad message as the comic ends. And so that was Heroes in Crisis issue number 6, everybody. And oh boy, what an issue this was. I don't think I've read a superhero comic in a long time that's been this openly antagonistic. I don't know if it's King's doing or DiDio's doing, but someone is really upset about Era and is doing everything in their power to go back and say, nuh-uh, it wasn't that great. And I'm not just talking about the obvious recreated scenes, I'm talking about the more subtle stuff like Cave Boy. Heroes in Crisis number 6 basically says, hey, are you still talking about DC Rebirth? You're Cave Boy then, you're stuck in the past. The future is now in me and what I'm writing. I know I spend a lot of time in this series discussing the metatext, mainly because what's actually happening on the panels isn't that much to write home about, but here I feel the metatext has fully boiled over and just become the text of the book. And that text is just combative for no real reason. It's a real turnoff. And that's even before we talk about just the problems in the story itself. Who is the main character? Who am I supposed to be sympathizing with and following around? Is this still a story about combating mental illness? Because it sure doesn't feel like it anymore. It sounded like Superman pretty much ended the whole problem in the previous issue with one little speech. And furthermore, if you are trying to talk about mental illness, then why are you showing people with mental problems to be incredibly dangerous? Also, if everyone in this mystery story is going to be an unreliable narrator anyway, then what's the point of even looking for clues when it ultimately doesn't matter? At the end of the day, the only saving grace is the art, which looks real pretty. I give this one a 5 out of 10. If this wasn't a big series and if I didn't devote so much time to it, this would have been the issue that made me drop it.
I'm Cape Joel, and I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out some of these other videos I have available from the channel. Then you can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at Cape Joel, so you're always up to speed on what I'm doing next. And hey, you know what? If you're in the market for a good comic book trade, might I recommend using my link down in the description? That's right, through Book Depository, not only will you get an amazing deal and not have to pay for shipping and handling, but anything you buy via my Book Depository link actually goes to support me and the channel. So you win, I win, everybody wins, right? And until next time, everyone, this has been Cape Joel. Thank you for watching, and I will be continuing to make comic content that smacks of greatness. Bye-bye.